Hi everybody. So Thursdays is almost always me, unless I am sick or out of town, which can happen to anyone. But yes, usually Thursdays is me. My name is Yang, in case you don't know who I am. Hi Joe Maxero, hi Big Crab, hi Halo Kills, hi Squishy Squash. We're still making progress. So today I thought I would put in the UI for a thing that I've been working on, which is Mod Manager, or some rudimentary form of mod management, so you can see what mods you have and enable or disable them. What am I running? Am I running the Microworld test? Yes, I'm running Microworld. I do not want Microworld. I want Stonehearth tests. There we go. And I want whatever Stonehearth test is on. Joe Maxer says, Ali streamed on Tuesday, so I wasn't sure if someone else would take your spot today. Ah, yes. That is indeed a case of when someone else would need to take our spot. For example, if we have a meeting that we can't possibly cancel or something like that. But thankfully it is Stephanie that usually has meetings, because Stephanie is now the product owner of Stonehearth, which means, you know, she sets the vision and the design direction. She gets to say definitively what is Stonehearth and what isn't, of course with feedback from the rest of us. But she has that power if she so desires to wield it, and which means she is involved in a lot of meetings and a lot of vision planning, just a lot of talking to other people overall. Meanwhile, I just write code, so I have less meetings, thankfully. I don't particularly like meetings, so I like to keep them as short as possible. Richard will probably tell you guys this. I get kind of upset if meetings go too long, especially if it's about things that I'm personally like, I don't know if I need to be listening to this, so let's talk elsewhere. Alright, so what's happening now is, as you can see, debug tools is not loaded. It's not in this upper corner. And if you go into user settings and you go into mods and you go debug tools, so I hooked it up such that for every mod, you can specify whether it loads or not. And you can also specify whether a mod loads by default. So the debug tools does not load by default. But if you say you specifically want it to be loaded, then it will be loaded here. So now we do have debug tools. The next step is to put this into the UI. So we do have a new UX designer, so she'll probably have a lot to say about this. But for the purposes of demonstrating that this works, I will create a new tab and put in some checkboxes in that tab. So let's do that. Instead of the gameplay tab, we want this to be the mods tab, and settings mods. So we go to em.json and we add our mods thing in here, settings, here we go. Mods tab, mods. Are they called mods or modules? We go back and forth. Maybe they're called modules. Who knows? Okay. So we want a tab page, and the tab page is going to be the mods tab. End tab page. Then we're gonna go into our less, and I think everything has to say we're not visible, so The mods tab is also not visible. And then if we refresh this, Squishy Squash says, does Tom and Tony have nothing to do with Stonehearth anymore? Tom and Tony are still at the very top, so if you think about the, we got acquired, now we have like an organization, because things were very much like, seat of your, you grab your seat and then you hang on for the ride because everything goes very quickly. And now that we're having time to like really think about where the game is going, we're sort of spreading into more of a structure of like Tom and Tony are the people who are invested in the project and can cancel the project if they want to. Like, Tom has the authority to make that call. They give us feedback on what it is that we're doing. Before, like, the day-to-day stuff, like, Stephanie is in a lot of meetings. She's meeting with design. She's meeting with people for hiring. She's meeting with a lot of places and a lot of different people to keep our little team chugging along and figuring out where we're gonna be next and stuff. And Tom has to do that for the entire studio, so Tom is like super busy. So that's why you have to do like this whole like tree diagram thing. And I myself, I like flat orgs more, but I can kind of see why you would need this kind of structure, because like why otherwise I would be in a lot of meetings, and thank God I'm not in a lot of meetings. We make money through Steam sales. Yeah, we are on sale on Steam. It's great. Okay, this thing is not showing up because of that problems. Because the JSON is not reloaded if you press F5, because I added a new string. So actually, yeah, let's load it again. Rise children build test. I think I want to not do placing the building, and just have them hang out for a little bit while I look at all the mod stuff. Proton Gaming says, don't think the game in its state makes enough money for the entire team. Proton Gaming, how does Stonehearth make money? They got income from Kickstarter, now they sell the game on Steam and Humble Bundle. Yeah, that's a good summary of it. I believe last I checked we were self-sufficient on Steam sales. So maybe we're doing better than you think. That would be amazing. Alright, so yeah, we got a mods tab, and so now we want to populate this mods tab with a list of all the mods, and like if they can't be enabled for some reason because they have a bad manifest or all of that stuff, we will show that here as well. So let's do that. I took the liberty of populating the list of mods that we have here in install mods. So I added a function in C++ that tells us what mods are installed and so then we need to figure out an array of mods. We need to so this is actually a map, so we need to convert it into array. So let's do that. Var mod list equals gradient map to array. It's a JavaScript command. There we go. Gradient map to array. And then we need a callback for everything, because we actually want to insert more things in there. Actually, no, I don't think we do. I think we just need to do radiant mod map to array mods. Maybe we just do this. See what happens. Installed mod list. Installed mods list. Mod list. And then we can do an each on it. So how do we give a text box? Settings, input type, checkbox, attribute, label for title equals. Alright, so we need to do an ember each because it's an array. So What's a good example of that? I think it's an each. No, it's a pound each. Is it a pound each? Pound each. It's a pound each. Alright, so for each mod item in installed mods list, I think that's a view installed mods list, we're gonna do /each. So for each of these things, we're gonna do a setting, we're gonna do a checkbox. Oh man, this thing's just a little bit too narrow. So now, for every item in the mod list, we would want to print out a checkbox that said bind attribute checked equals mod item dot user enabled. Did I call it user enabled or just enabled? I'll have to double check that. And then this is the ID. So we would bind the ID equals mod item dot name. So this would be a label for, we would need to bind the attribute of this guy. So for is mod name, and then the title equals mod item dot name. And then this is I18N key mod item dot name. So this could completely fail because who knows if I'm using the names correctly. Yep, it has failed. So let's look at why. And the way we do that is we open up a Chrome debugger because we want to know why it's not listing out our mods. So localhost. Thankfully our UI is Chrome. Also, I think Chrome updated because everything looks different now. Amber's Monk says your audio and video sync is a bit off. I'm actually not sure how to fix that. I guess I could restart the stream. But that would mean I would have to restart the stream. How upset are people over the fact that my audio and video is off? Or audio and video are out of sync. Okay, so now we go to this installed mods and we look at why it is it didn't get hit. Did it not get hit because this is the settings, it's a settings controller. I'm actually not a big fan of the settings controller, but that's fine. That's fine. We put a breakpoint here, and then we settings. There we go. Hit that breakpoint. Alright, so mods. Mods looks like this. Now mod list is an array. And then we do mod list 0. Enabled false status 0. Okay. It has no name in it. So we actually need to put the name in. So the way we do that, kv, is we do v.name equals k. Return v. So this is how we say, like, we have an array, we want to convert, we have a map, we want to convert the map into the array, and as part of converting the map, we want to store the name entry that it was stored in the map as part of the variable So the map looks like, you know, my mod enabled to enable true, right? And we want to convert this into an array whose 0th element is a object that's like name equals my mod and enabled is true. And that's what this function does. So let's see. All right, now we go through installed mods list. That's correct. For mod item, mod enabled, mod name, mod name, mod name. And then this, we don't want to do this ID. Okay. So now we refresh again so that we can load the new UI. We go to settings. We do this whole process again. What's mod list 0? Mod list 0 is auto test framework. Hey, it's not enabled. That's unfortunate. Why is it not enabled? Well, we'll see. We'll see if it renders out the list. No, still no list. Is there an error here somewhere? Nope, no error. So pound each. Let's look at other usages of pound each. So this is totally there. Let's see, maybe we have to set the controllers. I'm actually not a big fan of this. Yeah, let's just not put it in the controller. I'm not a big fan of the controller. Let's get the list of installed mods from here. So our settings is separated into a controller and a actual settings view. I think this is just an old way of doing things that I'm actually not a big fan of. But I think the way that we're doing this is actually slightly better. So I'm gonna do it this way. Yay! Now we have a list. Woohoo! See, here's a list of all the mods. We should probably actually put, you know, a little title in there. So how do we put a title in things? Here it is. Here's the gameplay tab title. So this is actually mods tab title. Title is install modules. So now we can refresh. Maxer says, and notice that it's as well, your mouth moves about 1.5 seconds after you speak. I can see that. I've had that. I've seen that happen on streams before. Mods tab title. Why aren't you showing up? UI show. Oh, mobs. That is just the wrong thing. Mods tab. Alright. Amber Smoke says, do you think Richard wants to turn the town building game into a war game? I highly doubt that. Richard is listening to a lot of what we have to say on the kind of game that we are making. And he gets a lot of feedback from us anytime he writes a design and anytime he works out what is good for him, or not good for, but like what is the best for the game. So he loves the game, and he is definitely working for all of us. Why is debug? So they are all disabled according to C++, which is interesting. And unfortunately I can't actually do C++ on stream because C++ will make the entire stream glitch or hitch. Ballsy Blake says how many people are still working on development of Stonehearth. So it is me, Linda, Allie, Mally, Stephanie, Chris, Albert, Brad, Tom and Tony, Richard, and we are adding Nikki, who is a UX designer from Riot in LAX. Actually, she's moving up here, and she's actually already started going through the list of all of the UI flow in our game. And she has like this crazy flowchart that she's putting up as post-its, and it's pretty intense. I think she's gonna soon tell us probably all the things that are horribly broken in our UI flow, which I look forward to because I think our UI can definitely do with some improvements. Come on, open up. No, that's client.h. I want client.cpp. There we go. Installed mods. Do any of these have a status even? Alright, hang on. I'm gonna have to look through all of these because I think I'm doing the conversion wrong from so I'm gonna have to do this again. I think I'm doing the... So this is the place in C++ where I convert the C++ data into JSON data so I can pipe it to... so I can pipe all the data into the JavaScript side. And it's not giving me... I suspect that I'm not doing it correctly and it's giving me the wrong data. So let's take a look. Alright, here we go. Mods. Mods. I'm gonna go mods, and then let's take a look at debug tools. Status 0. What about Stonehearth? Stonehearth is also not enabled, which is just wrong, right? Like, that's just wrong. So I suppose I could. Sometimes this is okay, like it's fast to run the game from here. If the stream stutters a little bit, hey, there's our excuse to restart it, right? Hang on, guys. Going for a wild ride. Oh yeah, Raj. Raj makes the musics. I've sometimes forget a little bit because Raj is like in Canada. I'm sorry, Raj. Why is it... Really? Why would user enable be false? I did something wrong. Hang on. Resource. No, not resource. Res manager. Why don't we name it resource manager? Because that's technically what it is. That's alright. Register module. And then user enabled is false. User enabled. It's totally true. Unless, oh, this is a copy. Oh, that's not good. Alright, so can't do this. Has to do this. Alright, alright. Hang on, guys. We'll try it again. Might take forever to compile, and compiling on this machine causes all of Windows to be very, very upset with me. Can I increase the priority of this thing? Go to details. Here it is. Real time. Alright, XSplit. You are real time priority. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Continue. Connect the debugger. Escape. Settings. Boop. Mod list. Mods, debug tools. Yay, enable true. Okay, alright. The enabling is working. Yay! Alright, so now you can see that most of them are enabled. Perf test. What is a perf test? Ah, it has no... This is something else we need to do, which is if a mod is disabled, we need to show why. And sometimes they are actually like, you can't enable this one because it doesn't have a version in it. So this is a good place where we should, if v dot enabled equal, if it's not enabled, and the status is not 0, then v dot unavailable is true, and we want to do v dot so let's do some error strings. So I've hooked up, we want to tell the player why they can't load this file, right? So we can say invalid manifest. Invalid manifest can mean like the manifest doesn't exist, or the manifest is not proper JSON. We're going to treat both of those as the same thing. So error invalid manifest. Invalid this mod So the other error is that the mod is out of date. This mod cannot be loaded because it is out of date. Check to see if a newer version of the mod exists. Okay. And then third deferred load. So deferred load is more of a, you do not load this mod manually. This mod should not be loaded manually. This mod is marked as deferred load, which means it will be loaded by it cannot be loaded. It cannot be manually The AviX says, I'm pretty sure you can take out Rise Children and Rise Children UI and it works fine. Yes, you can. The AviX says, why is Stonehearth, Radiant Children, Rise Children, and Radiant Children listed in that? Yeah, so you shouldn't be able to disable these. I need to work on that next, which is to say you cannot disable, certain mods. Like, you shouldn't be able to disable the Radiant mod or the Stonehearth mod, because then your game just won't run. So that's the next thing I want to do. I'll probably hard code it in so that you can't disable these two. And then, well, you definitely can't run without the Radiant one. Because that puts in some things that force the game to exist. Megastrap says, is there value in offering checkboxes for deferred load mods at all? Probably not. I think either you would hide them, we could hide them completely, or we could gray them out and, you know, yeah, maybe we would just grade them out. Maybe it's not even a deferred load thing, we just, but then, you know, so that's a user experience question, right? Like, do you grade them out? Do you show an error on them? Like, what do you do? So if v.status does not equal 3, so I should actually port over this right here. So this is mod status. So we can port over all of our C++ constants there. If the status does not equal mod status deferred load, then v.error equals true, or has error. It's true. There we go. So then we go to Crab says, so what would happen if you have a folder and an SMod version of the same mod will be listed once and the folder being prioritized? Yes, it will be listed once. The way that we load mods is if you have a folder, then you have a folder. Otherwise, you have you load the SMod. And the game will actually complain at you if you have both installed, because then you have a mod conflict. Because why do you have both? I needed to put that in there because a lot of people were running with unzipped versions of Stonehearth, and then when the game updated, their SMODs updated, but their unzip versions didn't, and they were running into a lot of errors. So I just made it so that was like a problematic thing, and you had to like confirm every time that you were okay with doing that. All right, so here in the settings, type checkbox bind attribute disabled equals mod item dot unavailable, and class equals oh, this thing does the wrapping around. I don't like that it does the wrapping around. You'd never want to view wrapping around, in my opinion. Or for code, it's like you don't know if it's on a separate line or not, and there are certain languages where it being on a separate line actually matters. So class is like mod item dot. If the mod item has an error, then we do error checkbox. Otherwise, do nothing. I think this will get us something that we want. Hi, the Timo. So let's look at our stuff again. Oh, nope. We got an error, reference error. Mod status is not defined. Settings 243. 243. Ah, yes. v.status. There we go. Oh, self dot. Refresh. Good news is, there it is. See, you can't enable perf test. You can't enable Rise Children UI. Woohoo! And we'll want to display a tooltip as to why. So, do I have tooltips in here? Label. The title is going to be mod dot unavailable mod item dot so are there switch statements in JavaScript? I forget. Yes. Good. Switch statements are your friend. There are no switch statements in Lua. So we do switch v.status case 0 break or okay, so if the status is 1, case self dot mod status dot invalid manifest, then we would want to v.error message equals error invalid manifest. So it's not just error invalid manifest, it is Stonehearth settings mod. It is this guy. Break. Otherwise, if we have a out of date, then we would want the error message to be that it is out of date. Or if we are deferred load, then we want the message to be that we are deferred load. So has error equals true, has error equals true. So this isn't actually an error message, it's just a tooltip. So being deferred load does not mean you have an error, it just means you have a tooltip. Alright, great. Refresh, make sure nothing broke. Sometimes you can't actually put dynamic case statements in a switch, so we'll have to see if JavaScript complains about that. It didn't seem to actually complain about that. Great. Alright, and now onto settings. So the title would be, if you are unavailable, then we do your tooltip. Otherwise we do nothing. So it would actually be blah. Actually, we need to translate these. Yeah, you'll want to translate those and then tooltip them. Settings. Do they have tooltips? No. Is it because we needed to tooltips or some things? Title. The label has a title that is bound to mod item tooltip. Do I have a tooltipster call? Ah. Right, because this thing tooltips on items generated in each statement are difficult because they because this thing doesn't exist at the time that you say I want to tooltip something. So maybe the thing to do is to just put a little is to just put like another label next to it to be like just so you can be like, yeah, I have another label for what the issue is. Mod item, not tooltip. So here's a label. So we do if mod item dot tooltip. You put in a label for the tooltip. How does that look? No, that's the journal. What am I doing? Settings. Yay! Okay, so we have this thing on the side now. And the string was not valid, so, or the string was not updated because strings aren't updated on UI refresh. So yeah, now it'll show you that this is an invalid manifest and that this thing is deferred load, so that's why it's not loading, or that's why you can't check it. And the next thing to do is we would want to say that we have a error label. Error checkbox. So the error check, we want to hook up the error checkbox tooltip. So go here, and we would want there to be a class that is, you have a error checkbox, and then the color, we would want to have an invalid color there. Promotion tree has an invalid color. It's not job unavailable, unavailable, unavailable. Warning font color, there we go. So now the things that you can't load. Nope, that didn't work. So maybe it was because this class needs to go down here. If it has an error, then we need to have an error checkbox class. Why is that not applying? The color should be red. And so, I mean, it knows that we have an error. Oh, I need to bind attribute. There we go, bind attribute class has checkbox. Oh no, this one's bound. That one should totally be working. Actually, let's look at other usages of this, because I might be using it wrong. That should be correct. Let's see. Settings, mods. There we go! Yay! Alright, cool. Now we know this one is bad because it's an invalid manifest. So this one's class should have also worked, but it did not. And that disappoints me. But that's okay. That's okay for now. We need a little star thing that says it requires restart of the game. Where is that? Ah. So we can just put in some text at the bottom here. Put in a note. Mods tab. Note. So we want to tell people that oh no, note is not an object, it's a string, so we want to do this. Enabling or disabling a module requires a game restart. Okay, let's load that up. See here, settings, mods. Okay, cool, tells you some things. You can enable, disable them, and click OK, and nothing happens, of course. But we can hook that up now. Well, actually, I'm curious. What if I disabled? So I'm gonna do this thing where I disable debug tools. So debug tools, the manifest of it, if you go to, so the way I pick this up is that debug tools will be enabled, will be not enabled by default. So if you go here and you go to mods, debug tools will be disabled. And now we want to hook it up so that when you click this, it will actually call into C++ to enable the that particular mod. So let's do that. When we click OK, we want to do something similar to apply gameplay settings, which is apply mod settings. Where we should look at every config, every mod that is in our list. In our IDs. We should add a better ID for this. It shouldn't just be the name of the mod. The ID should be .id equals option mod, and then there. And now we can actually display the name of the mod if you want. Like if you want to, instead of displaying debug tools, we did the name here. We could do that if we wanted to. And it's not tied to the actual name. So let's see. So we get the installed, so what we'll need to do is we'll need to get the installed mod list. So in apply mod settings, we'll need to get the mod list. Our mod list. And then gradient each mod list function I mod info. So for every piece of mod info, we would do var enable. So if mod info dot so what did I name them? So if it is unavailable, if it's not unavailable, that's unfortunate. If the mod is available, then we look at whether it's been checked. And this will be parentheses, close parentheses, plus mod info.id var mod enabled, and then we would want to set the config mods plus mod info dot name dot enabled mod enabled. There we go. Alright, so that will actually do what we want, I believe. So let's check this out here. So I'm not really paying attention to chat. I will go back through Megasharp says, once this UI is launched, will you be able to start shipping the game with debug tools included but disabled? Yes, that's actually the goal. Oh, geez, why are you up top now? What happened? I did something that caused the entire UI to move upwards. Syntax error. There we go. 373. 373. Call. Oh. There we go. Yep, that is the plan. We would really like to do that, and we would really like to have some kind of a mod management system where people can upload their mods and then like download them into their games. So yay! Okay, so debug tools disabled. Enable it. Okay. In settings, mods. Oh, nope, that didn't work. Alright, so why? Why didn't it work? Actually, let me see my user settings. Did it work? Stonehearth auto test. Enabled. Huh! The rest of these are enabled. Okay, cool. So, it's a little bit verbose. Which is unfortunate. But, so, now, yay, it's enabled now. And then we go here, and we disable it. And we do this. Maybe we should warn you that it requires a game restart. But here, we'll rerun it. And now debug tools is disabled. Woohoo! Okay, so that works. This is kind of unfortunate. So I will work on figuring out how to make this better next time, so that we don't pollute your entire user settings with things that are by default enabled. Excuse me. So maybe we need another boolean in here that's like default enabled false or something, so that so that if you are enabled by default, then we just don't need to set this. Like if you're enabled but it's enabled by default anyway, don't bother. Alright, let's take a quick look at some of the comments. I have missed a lot, I am so sorry. Hi Latimo, thank you for stopping by. Yes, your houses are super amazing. I loved watching your stream. So this is like his literal, this is Latimo's like literal town. This one's my favorite. It's a Poyo house. It looks like a Poyo. There's room for one bed up top and then some chests at the bottom. They're very cozy. But this is a super cool town. Thank you for sharing it with everybody. Alpha 19, it's coming to Unstable soon. You have a whole bunch of people waving, and everybody talking to each other. They'll do things now. Like they'll acknowledge each other when they're bored. So they'll all be like, what's up? What's up? Okay, answered Megashop's question. Crazy Bones says I'm really happy with how well this game is turning out. Yay, thank you. I am super excited for every new feature we're able to get added in. Oh yeah, I finally fixed that bug where they would eventually get stuck when they talk to each other. That was a painful one. It was like 5 days of me just running the game non-stop trying to catch this thing. A-Bit Crab says, Stonehearth and debug tools don't generally update at the same time. Would you wait for the Stonehearth update to add new debug tools, or push an update just to get new debug tools out? I think it would actually work slightly better in that if we ship debug tools with the game, you would be guaranteed to have a version of debug tools that is working with the current version of the game that you have. because previously if you had to download it, if we pushed an update to debug tools but you are on like an older branch or something, or if you are on Steam stable and we updated debug tools to be for unstable, then your game would break. But if we shipped it with the game, then it would just be like debugtools.smod, and you would know that the debug tools that came with your game is guaranteed to work with your game. So I think it would work well. This is Toasty says, being able to mod the game is the biggest reason why I enjoy playing games. I can customize the gameplay and how I want, just like Skyrim, XCOM, Don't Starve, etc. Yeah, totally. We love mods in this game, and we really want to make it modder friendly and to support all of the things that modders would want. Sometimes it does take a while. Like for example, it did take a while for us to add this thing, but we are thinking of you all, and we're very thankful for all the people that have already created mods so far. So thanks a lot, guys, people. Epic Crab says, will there eventually be little emotes in the speech bubbles? Yes, that is coming. We need to figure out like what are they saying, and do they make a sound when they talk to each other? And we also need like more animations for this. So this is very temporary. It's not supposed to look this empty. It will look a lot better once we get our heads down and like figure out what to put in here and things like that. I think it'll be based on in my ideal world, what they're saying will be like based on their current mood, and then like maybe their profession or what their traits are. But of course the only thing we have right now is profession. So yeah, lots of things we can say. We also need to update the thought balloon tech a little bit, I think, because we can't just display a thought balloon with any random image, right? It has to be an image that's then flattened on here, and so we have to create a lot of separate images. Like we can't just like take this carpenter's the image of the carpenter here, because this one is like a PNG with a transparent background. We can't just take this thing and put it into one of these thought bubbles like programmatically. We would have to create a thought bubble with that image and then flatten it in Photoshop and save it out as a PNG. And that's a lot of work, which I actually don't think we need to do, because it's also an additional asset that we have to ship with the game. Alright, I'm answering a lot of questions. Stonehearth, will Rise children in Ascendancy have a clearly different dialect in their chat? That would be hilarious. I will make that note to the team. Of course, with anything, it's like getting enough time to do everything, right? Which is why we're actually doing this update to Rise children, because they were missing out on a lot of templates. They actually have a lot more templates than Ascendancy now, which is amazing. And I'm super excited about that. But yeah, having them talk about different things would be super cool. Like Rise children should totally talk about trade more, and talk about the desert and all of that stuff. Debug tools shouldn't be that big, hopefully, compared to the rest of the game. Like anytime we have music is actually what takes up a lot of Stonehearth's installation memory. Like I think we're 500 megabytes right now, and I think about 300 megabytes of that, maybe 200 megabytes of that is just music. Raj has made a lot of music and it's super good, but music takes up a lot of disk space. So compared to that, code and everything else, that stuff zips down pretty nicely. Alright. Oh hey says, I haven't been here in a few months and now they're waving and talking. Yeah, it's great. This is a new feature for Alpha 19 actually. So Linda worked really hard on this. And it's super cute. I think it gives them a lot more life and dynamic. And once we add in like what they're talking about too, I think it'll make for a super awesome feature. Like they could be mad at each other, like one person would play like a mad animation or something like that. I think that would the possibilities are endless. I like how the furnace fire comes through the chat boxes. Yeah, that's probably some kind of a Z fighting issue. I have to talk to Chris about that. But I've noticed that too. It's very noticeable where I'm like, oh, are they actually talking about something? Like, there's something in their chat bubbles. What is it? And you know, it's just the fire VFX. It's great. All right. Well, it is 7 o'clock. We made good progress today. Hey, we can enable and disable mods now, but you have to restart for them to take effect. It's better than before though. So yeah, that will be it for today's stream, everyone. Thank you so much for commenting and for keeping me company as I proceeded to stare at a page of text. I meant like this text. This is just a page of text. I love reading all of your comments, so thank you for chatting with me. Epic Crab says, will they have a rock, paper, scissors social animation? That would be super cool. And it would be random who won. Alright. Well, that's it for me, everyone. Thank you so much for watching. And have a good rest of the evening.